Hello everyone, I welcome you all in this lecture, and here I am going to talk about some biochemical aspects of lead. Lead is toxic heavy metal that exists in nature everywhere. It enters into the living systems and exerts its toxic effects. So let's discuss its toxic effects on the living organisms. And the contents will be introduction. In the introduction, I will talk about some important characteristics of the lead element. Thereafter, the sources that leads to the contamination of the lead into the environment. Thereafter, the effects of lead on the living organisms. Now let's start with introduction. When we talk about the existence of lead, it exists in the nature in the earth crust. And when we extract it from the earth crust, that is while mining, thereafter processing, and then when we transformed it into useful products, then these all steps leads to its entry into the environment. From there, it contaminates the environment, and due to that it has now become ubiquitous in nature. That means it is found everywhere in the soil, air, water, in the living organisms. Here it exists in trace amounts. Now, as it has become widely scattered element and it is toxic in nature, so we can say that it has become widely scattered toxic metal in the world. And due to its toxicity, it has been found that it is even unsafe in very low concentrations to the living organisms. And its symbol is Pb, and it has been found that it does not perform any function in the living organisms. It produces only its deleterious or toxic effects in the living organisms. This metal is inexpensive and can be extracted from the earth crust very easily. So there are extensive applications of this metal are there. Now let's talk about the possible sources that leads to the contamination of the environment with lead. As now we all know that lead exists in the nature in the earth crust, and when it is extracted from the earth crust by mining, thereafter processing, and when it is transformed into useful products, and then these and when these useful products are used, while their use and while their recycling or disposal of the products containing lead, these all points leads to the contamination of the environment with lead. That means there is a possibility that lead can release into the environment while all these processes. And when we talk about its common sources, then there are two main sources that leads to the contamination of the environment with lead. These are natural resources and anthropogenic resources. Anthropogenic resources means the contamination of the environment with lead by the human activities, and natural sources means when the contamination of the environment takes place from the naturally existed lead in the environment. Now let's talk about the natural sources of lead contamination. First one is geochemical weathering. As we all know that lead exists naturally in the earth crust, and it exists in the rocks like igneous rocks, metamorphic rocks, and when the weathering takes place, then it enters into the soil. Next one is Volcanic emissions. Volcanic eruptions contains the element lead, and from there it enters into the soil. It also contaminates the water bodies. From soil it enters into the water bodies, and in the water bodies it generally exists in the surface water, do not enter into the groundwater. Next is air. From the soil it enters into the air, and in the air dust particles becomes laden with lead element. Next is plants. Plants also in the plants also lead may get deposited or get bioaccumulated in their tissues. Actually, from the soil, plants uptake the lead element, and that lead element get deposit into their tissues. And amount of lead in the plants depends upon its concentration in the soil. There is a positive relationship between the concentration of the lead in the soil and in the plant tissues. Thus, lead exists in the earth crust naturally. From there, by different activities like volcanic eruptions, geochemical weathering or weathering of rocks, uh, and it enters into the soil, water, air, and now these are the different natural sources from where it enters into the living systems. So these are the natural sources that can cause the contamination of the living systems with lead. Now, anthropogenic sources of lead contamination. That is how human activities leads to the generation of lead into the environment, and from there it can enters into the living systems and produce toxic effects. Now, first one is dust. Due to several human activities, lead is generated into the environment or into the atmosphere, and from atmosphere it get laden into the dust particles, and when these dust particles settle on the food items or on the water bodies, it may enter into the living systems. Thus, dust act as an anthropogenic source of lead contamination. Next is renovating an old house. That is an exercise that generates lot of dust. And in the old houses, there are usually paint flakes are there, and as lead is used for the preparation of paint, so these old flakes usually contains lead, and from there it may these may enter into the atmosphere and get laden into the on the dust particles, and these dust particles then produce lead poisoning. Now next is proximity to lead industries. There are several lead industries are there, that is these are involved in the production of products which in which lead is used, and when we live near the industries, such type of industries, then we may get exposed to lead. Next is combustion of coal, wood, oil. So the combustion of the these fossil fuels and wood and all that also generates lead into the atmosphere. And there are these are the examples of industries, that is steel industry, iron industry, and these industries use lead as a component in their manufacturing process, and these industries also generate lead into the atmosphere. Lead is also used in the cement production process and thus generates lead. Next is mining, smelting. As we all know that lead mainly exists in the earth crust, and when we extract that metal from the earth crust by the mining process, or when its processing is done, that is smelting like processes अगर follow किए जाते हैं, तो ये सारे के सारे processes में क्या है, lead जो है generate होती है in the atmosphere. Besides that, not only the mining of lead but also mining of other elements or other metals from the earth crust also generates lead into the atmosphere, because it is present in the atmosphere, because it is present in the earth crust to a great extent. Now, diet lacking iron and calcium. When somebody take diet that is lacking in iron and calcium, then it may also cause more and more lead absorption in the gastrointestinal tract, and ultimately can produce more exposure or more entry of the lead into the body and produce toxic effects of the lead. Next is there are several agricultural chemicals are also there in which lead is used, like pesticides, fertilizers. And here is an example that is in the pesticides lead arsenate is used, and when these chemicals are used in agriculture, they may contaminate the soil and also the irrigation water, and in this way enters into the living system. Next is petrol. In the petrol also lead is used. There are compounds like tetraethyl lead, tetramethyl lead. These compounds are used as an anti-knock agents, and these are mixed with petrol. These raises the octane number of petrol, and thus that petrol may also act as a source of lead contamination in the environment. Now, the other anthropogenic sources may be chemical manufacturing industries. There are different industries are there in which lead is used for the manufacturing of chemicals. Lead is used as a component of certain chemicals, and these industries act as a source of environmental contamination. Now next is ceramic glazes. Ceramic wares are generally glazed with a material before baking, and that material provide it attractive shine, and when baking is not done properly, then this lead may enter into the food items. And similarly, food processing equipments are sometimes the pipes that are used in food processing equipments, and soldered material or machinery also act as a contamination for the food items. Next is cigarettes. Cigarette smoke also contains lead that can also contaminate the environment. TV cable or computer monitors, and lead is also used for manufacturing batteries and all that. These all sources also can also contaminate the environment with lead. Next is aviation. Aviation fuel also contain lead, and that can also contaminate the environment. X-ray shields means X-ray rooms are shielded, and in these shields lead is used to protect the outer persons from the harmful effects of the X-rays, and these can also act as a contaminating source for the environment. Next is explosives. In the manufacturing of explosives also lead is used, and so it can also be a source. Water pipes and lead soldering. In the case of long water pipes, due to the pliability of lead is used for the preparation of long pipes, and besides that, in the soldering of water pipes, lead is used as a filling material. And from there lead can also contaminate the water and the soil. In the case of electroplating and chemical plants also, lead is used in the flooring material, and because there are more chances of spillage of acids there, and lead protect the floor from the hazardous effects, and so these can also contaminate the environment. Next is medicines. There are many traditional medicines are there that contains lead. Cosmetics are there in which lead is used, and at the end, all the industries that generate waste, and that waste may contain lead. Besides that, municipal solid waste, hazardous waste, sewage sludge, these all can contain lead, and these when these waste are not disposed properly, without treating, then lead can contaminate the nearby soil or the water bodies. So these are the different anthropogenic sources that leads to the contamination of the environment with lead. Now let's talk about some biochemical effects of lead. Lead is highly toxic heavy metal. It exerts its toxic effects on all the living organisms. Here we talk about wide range of biological effects that it exerts in the human beings. The effect of lead depends upon its concentration and duration of exposure. More the concentration and more the duration of exposure, it produces more and more deleterious effects in the human beings. In the human beings, it affects the individual cells as well as affects the various organ systems of the body and thus affects the overall functioning of the human body. And when somebody get exposed to high concentration of lead for long time, that it can even cause death. As I have told that it affects the different organ systems of the human body. So these organ systems may be nervous system, excretory system, cardiovascular system, reproductive system, immune system, and besides that it also affects the bones and the synthesis of heme, and it affects the hemopoietic system of the human body. Besides that, it can also damage the DNA and also produces mutagenic or carcinogenic effects in the human body. It damages the DNA and it may even cause cancer in the human beings. Inhibition of hematopoietic system by lead. Lead inhibits the hematopoietic system in the human body. That system is actually involved in the synthesis of blood components in the body, and exposure to high levels of lead affect that system at several levels. These includes it inhibits the synthesis of heme and globin. These are the two components of hemoglobin. And hemoglobin is the protein that is present in the blood that carries the oxygen to all the organs or all the tissues of the body, and that exposure to high level of lead that inhibits the synthesis of heme as well as the globin, and thus it inhibits the synthesis of hemoglobin. Besides that, it also affects the process of RBCs synthesis and their functions. And as it affects the hemoglobin, which is a oxygen carrying protein in the blood, it causes anemia. It also decreases the RBC's survival by inhibiting the membrane bound sodium potassium pump. Lead also depresses the serum level of a hormone erythropoietin, and that hormone is involved in the synthesis of RBCs, and thus it affects the reserve capacity for erythropoiesis by the erythropoietin hormone that is released by the kidney when there is a low level of oxygen in the blood. Inhibition of heme synthesis by lead. Exposure to high concentration of lead leads to the inhibition of heme synthesis. As I have already told you that lead inhibits the heme synthesis as well as the globin protein synthesis, and in this way it inhibits the synthesis of hemoglobin in the blood. And now let's discuss how it inhibits the heme synthesis. Heme is actually comprised of porphyrin ring that is complexed with ferrous iron and protoporphyrin 9. That means in the center there is a ferrous iron is present, and outer to this ferrous iron there are present four pyrrole rings. Each of the pyrrole ring is comprised of one nitrogen atom and four carbon atoms. And outer to each pyrrole ring, the hydrogen atoms have been replaced by four methyl groups, two vinyl groups, and two carboxyethyl groups. And such type of structure is termed as protoporphyrin. Thus, heme comprised of two components. In the center there is a ferrous iron, and outer to it there is protoporphyrin 9 is present. And heme acts as an essential prosthetic group for a number of proteins, and these proteins are termed as heme proteins. And mostly it is recognized by the heme proteins, that is hemoglobin and myoglobin. Hemoglobin is present in the RBCs, it transports the oxygen, and myoglobin is present in the skeletal muscles, and it also transports the oxygen here. And these are the two main proteins which are having the heme as a prosthetic group, and mainly heme is recognized by these two proteins. Besides that, heme also acts as a prosthetic group of cytochromes of the electron transport chain, and thus when lead inhibits the synthesis of heme, it also affects the energy generation by the respiration. Besides that, heme also acts as a prosthetic group of catalase, peroxidase, and these enzymes are involved in the antioxidant system, and thus lead also affects the antioxidant system of the cells and thus destroy the cells due to the reactive oxygen species. Besides that, heme also acts as a prosthetic group of enzyme nitric oxide synthase, and thus inhibits the synthesis of nitric oxide. And as we know that nitric oxide is involved in the various biological processes in the cell, thus lead inhibits all these processes. And when we see where that heme synthesis takes place in the bone marrow by the erythrocytes, that is the RBCs, and in the liver by the hepatocytes. Lead induces also heme oxygenase activity, and that enzyme degrade the hemoproteins, and in this way also disrupt all the functions that are performed by heme proteins in the cell, and in it are included respiration, energy production, and all that. Thus lead adversely affects the various processes in the cell. Inhibition of heme synthesis by lead. Thus, lead inhibits the heme synthesis. It inhibits the key enzymes that are involved in the biosynthetic pathway of heme synthesis. So, let's understand how it inhibits the synthesis of it. In the first step, glycine combines with succinyl coenzyme A. It leads to the synthesis of delta aminolevulinic acid in the presence of an enzyme, aminolevulinic acid synthase. This is the key enzyme of the pathway of heme synthesis. Now, in the next step, delta aminolevulinic acid dehydratase synthesize porphobilinogen from delta aminolevulinic acid. In the next step, hydroxymethylbilane synthesis takes place, and after 3-4 steps ultimately leads to the synthesis of protoporphyrin 9 that synthesize heme in the presence of an enzyme ferrochelatase. And in that pathway, the two enzymes, that is alpha aminolevulinic acid dehydratase and this ferrochelatase, these both enzymes are inhibited when there is exposure to high concentration of lead. Thus, these two enzymes inhibit the synthesis of heme and leads to the accumulation of protoporphyrin 9 in the cells. Besides that, accumulation of delta aminolevulinic acid may also takes place when inhibition takes place at the level of delta aminolevulinic acid dehydratase enzyme, and inhibition of these two enzymes leads to the overexpression of alanine levulinic acid synthase enzyme, because heme act as feedback inhibitor of that enzyme. But when heme synthesis lower down, then it it stimulates the aminolevulinic acid synthase enzyme, and in this way heme synthesis is inhibited by exposure to high concentration of lead. Now the next toxic effect of lead is the generation of oxidative stress in the cells. Lead induces the oxidative stress by generating the reactive oxygen species in the cell. Reactive oxygen species like superoxide ion, hydrogen peroxide, hydroxyl ion and all that. These reactive oxygen species are highly dangerous for the cell. These can disrupt the biomolecules like DNA, protein, lipids that are present in the cell, and these can also affect the various signaling pathways going on inside the cell. These can damage the DNA and thus produce mutagenic and carcinogenic effects in the cell. So, thus the lead causes the destructive effects in the cell by the production of these reactive oxygen species. Now in the cell there is present self-defense antioxidant system also there that protect the cell from these reactive oxygen species. But toxic level of lead also reduce the effect of that antioxidant defense system by depleting the glutathione. It actually inhibits the sulfhydryl dependent enzyme, that is the enzyme containing SH group, and also interfere with some essential metals that are needed for antioxidant enzymes. Antioxidant enzymes are like superoxide dismutase, peroxidase, catalase and all that. Some of these enzymes like superoxide dismutase also require metals as cofactors like zinc, copper and all that, and thus inhibits these enzymes. And besides that, lead also increases the susceptibility of the cells to oxidative attack by altering the membrane integrity of the cells also. It also alters the fatty acid composition of the membrane, and in this way alters the membrane integrity and disrupt the membrane of the cells. Lead also induce the disruption of the pro-oxidant and antioxidant balance in this way, and thus produce injuries in the tissues by oxidative damage. Effects of lead on the cell membranes. Lead exerts its toxic effects on the cell membranes also. It affects their structure as well as function. Now the maximum effect lead produces on the membranes of the RBCs, because it has been found that RBCs membranes have high affinity for lead. So approximately 95% lead remains laden on the RBCs membranes, and as we know that lead produces oxidative stress, thus that lead generates reactive oxygen species and damage the membranes of the RBCs by these oxidative species. It also changes the osmotic balance of the RBCs and also changes their mechanical susceptibilities or their interaction with the other molecules, affects the activities of the membrane bound enzymes, and also alters the composition of the membrane proteins. And as a result, the shape of RBCs becomes different, or is RBCs becomes deformed, and their lifespan also becomes short due to the exposure to toxic levels of lead. Effects of lead on liver. Lead also exerts its toxic effects on the liver. As we all know that lead inhibits the heme synthesis, and there are another kind of enzymes which are termed as cytochrome P450, and these enzymes also use heme as a prosthetic group, and when lead inhibits the synthesis of heme, that also affects the functionality of these enzymes. Actually, these cytochrome P450 enzymes are present throughout the body, but mainly these are present in the liver. And here, these enzymes perform many essential functions like the synthesis and breakdown of hormones, cholesterol or other fatty acid synthesis, vitamin D metabolism. Their other functions are like they metabolize the drugs that we intake and also metabolize the toxic compounds that are produced endogenously by the cells. And exposure to high level of lead inhibits all these processes. Thus, it inhibits especially the metabolism of the drugs that we intake. Besides that, lead also damages the liver by the production of reactive oxygen species by the process of oxidative stress. Effect of lead on nervous system. Exposure to toxic levels of lead also affects the nervous system badly. It may damage the brain as well as the peripheral nerves. Actually, peripheral nerves connect the brain and the spinal cord to the rest of the body. And when lead affects these nerves, and it mainly affects by affecting the insulating myelin sheath of these nerves. And that sheath is actually involved in the transmission of electrical impulses, and thus lead interferes in the transmit of messages via these nerves properly. Besides that, lead may also affect the brain function by interfering the neurotransmitters release as well as the at the synapse formation level. Lead can also passes from mother to her developing baby, and here in the body of the baby it get accumulate in the brain, liver and bones, and it may disturb the functioning of mitochondria in the developing brain. And when as we all know that mitochondria are the main organelles that are involved in the energy production, and thus lead affects the energy production in the brain and thus damage the cells in the nervous system. And it has been also found that babies who are exposed to toxic levels of lead tend to born prematurely, and their weight is also less than the normal babies. Now, the more effects that toxic level of lead exerts on the nervous system are, it may affect the different areas in the brain like cerebral cortex, cerebellum, hippocampus and all that. It also disturbs the blood vessels of the brain, and due to this it may cause bleeding in the brain as well as the swelling in the brain. And when we see its effect in the children, it may cause reduced IQ level, may affect their learning abilities, it can reduce their growth, it can induce hyperactive and antisocial behavior in the children, it can also impair the hearing capacity of the children and all that. Besides that, it also affects the adults in different manners, like it can cause pain in the muscles in the joints, it can produce digestive problems, it can cause memory and concentration problems, can produce high blood pressure, headache and dizziness. Lead also disrupts the blood brain barrier. That is, it disrupts the supply of blood to the brain by causing injury to the nervous system cells, that are star-shaped glial cells, that is astrocytes, and by disrupting the capillaries that supply blood to the brain, that is called as endothelial microvasculature. That means the capillaries that supply blood to the brain, and toxic level of lead may cause disruption of these capillaries and thus affects the blood brain barrier badly. Thus, in this way, in different manners, exposure to toxic level of lead affects the brain of the human beings. Now, the effects of lead on cardiovascular system. Exposure to toxic level of lead also affects the cardiovascular system badly. It may cause heart diseases and also produce hypertension. And there are different ways by which it induces the hypertension or the heart diseases. And these are, it produces reactive oxygen species and thus generates the oxidative stress. It limits the nitric oxide availability and thus affects the nitric oxide signaling. And as we all know that nitric oxide is involved in the various biological processes, and impairing its signaling affects the cardiovascular system badly. And it also increase the endothelins production. Endothelins are actually the peptides that affects the many organs in the body, and these are also involved in the constriction of the blood vessels. And thus in this way increasing the blood pressure. Besides that, lead also alters the renin and angiotensin hormone system, and that system also regulates the blood pressure, and in this way lead alters the blood pressure. Besides that, lead also raise the vasoconstrictor constrictor prostaglandins, and lowers down the vasodilator prostaglandins. Thus, it induces the constriction of blood vessels and increase in the blood pressure. Besides that, it promotes the inflammation, disturb the vascular smooth muscle calcium signaling, and also diminish the endothelium dependent vasodilation or relaxation of the blood vessels. In this way, it ultimately constrict the blood vessel, increase the blood pressure, and thus produce hypertension and the heart disease. Now, the other ways by which lead affects the cardiovascular system or causes hypertension are: it causes injury to the endothelial cells and also impair the repair mechanism of endothelial cells. It inhibits the angiogenesis, reduces the endothelial cell growth, suppresses the proteoglycan production. It stimulates the vascular smooth muscle cell proliferation and also causes phenotypic transformation. It reduces the tissue plasminogen activator and raises the plasminogen activator inhibitor 1 production. And in this way, it promotes arteriosclerosis, atherosclerosis, thrombosis, and also the cardiovascular diseases. So these are the different ways by which toxic levels of lead affects the different systems of the organ systems of the human body. Thank you.